Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Wiley, and for this assignment I will be doing the picture book assignment, specifically addressing science. So the story that I chose to address was Forces Physical Science for Kids by Andy Dine, and this addresses multiple grade levels, but the grade level I will specifically be addressing is kindergarten. This book does work for the age ranges of 5 to 8, which is kinder through second grade. With this being said, this can be turned into a lesson that can address science and math all together. So specifically, of course, this story is physical science, and it is addressing the concept of forces. With this being mentioned, it addresses the concept of gravity and the push-pull theory. One example given from the story is the concept of tug of war, which will be implemented into the math aspect in a minute. But this does, as I mentioned, teach the push-pull theory because you're pulling the rope, and the math equation that I will be specifically addressing, that I created two different examples. So one could be, as I mentioned, for younger children as well as older children, depending on how well they are with their mathematics skills. So the first example is Sarah has 3 inches of rope and she pulled more rope. Her total was 8 inches of rope. How much rope did she pull? Right? So if we were to write this into a written out equation, 3 plus blank equals 8, the students should get the number 5. For the easier example, it would be Andrea had 3 inches of rope. She pulls 5 more inches. What is the total amount of rope, right? 3 plus 5 equals 8. So this can be implemented into the NGS standards for kindergarten, specifically the K.MD.A.1 standard, which describes measurable attributes of objects such as length or weight, as well as describing several measurable attributes in a single object. So the reason why this problem can address this specific standard is that if you break it down, this addresses from the beginning the start amount of rope, right, which was 3 inches. Then it can be measured, right, more, because you are adding the 5 inches, and altogether this is measured as a total. The total is 8 inches. So this is a measurable attribute that could be one total thing that can be addressed in several different measurable parts. So this can also be turned into an English language arts lesson. Now, you may be wondering, why can you do this? So you have the storybook. Either way, you are going to read this story to your students, so you might as well implement different learning aspects, right? So a lot of people struggle with comprehension of a story. So throughout the story, when you are doing a read aloud, you may want to implement the aspect of critical thinking. So you can do this by asking your students questions about the story. For example, this question I'm going to state does not relate to the story, but you can ask them, oh, what is going on in this picture, or what is this character doing, right? This is making them think in the moment. What did my teacher just read to me? Okay, I understood that this is what happened. Now, if you would like to go a step further beyond this and address the literacy writing aspect of English language arts, you can have the students write, either give them a given prompt. So let's say, since this book is addressing push-pull or gravity, I would have my students write about an action where they can push, right? Not in the aspect of I'm pushing to hurt someone, but what involves pushing, like pushing a door. Or an example that I could use as a sentence is Sarah pushed her friend on the swing, right? So have them write a sentence of something that they can do that involves pushing, and then possibly draw a picture. You could always advance this concept for the older grades as well.